Welcome back to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. Before the break, we were talking about the end of an era in a lot of ways, that TNT and NBA and Ernie and Shaq and Charles, everything is changing, which not everyone likes change, but it happens. And so we'll see where that takes us as we move here into segment 3. We are switching back to college football, a conversation we were having yesterday about this NBA or this NCAA settlement. The NCAA's proposed $2.8 billion settlement of 3 consolidated antitrust cases has triggered significant debate among smaller conferences in college athletics. While the Division I Board of Directors approved a framework allocating 41% of the damages to be funded by the NCAA and 60% by member schools over a 10-year period, the distribution of financial responsibility has become a contentious issue. The disparity in contributions between power conferences and non-power conferences has led to criticism from the leaders of the latter, who argue that the burden should be more evenly distributed, considering that a majority of the damages will benefit former power conference athletes. The dispute revolves around the allocation of damages related to the use of athletes' name, image, and likeness, or NIL, with legal experts and class certification indicating that a substantial portion of the settlement will go to Power 5 football and men's basketball players. However, uncertainties remain regarding the exact distribution process and the number of plaintiffs involved in the case. While plaintiff attorneys will use allocation formulas to determine payments, questions persist about the fairness of compensating athletes for their NIL rights, particularly regarding the discrepancies between high-profile players and others. Additionally, concerns have been raised about the potential impact of attorney fees on the settlement, with the expectations that fees could surpass $100 million. This has prompted discussions about the equitable distribution of funds among plaintiffs and the overall effectiveness of class action lawsuits in addressing complex issues within college athletics. Amidst the ongoing negotiations and approvals within the NCAA and conference leadership, smaller conferences express reservations about the proposed funding formula and its implications for their budgets and athlete benefits. The prospect of participating in a revenue-sharing model proposed by the settlement has further divided opinions, with some leagues considering it unfeasible given their financial constraints and autonomy concerns. As the NCAA moves forward with finalizing settlement terms, the discontent among smaller conferences underscores the need for comprehensive reforms to address the evolving landscape of college athletics and ensure equitable treatment of all stakeholders. Now, Tate, this is the college football off season, and yet
there's no such thing. There's no such thing as college football off season.
But you understand what I'm saying?
No, I totally understand what you're saying.
We're in the process of moving. Yeah, what do you have to say about all of this?
Okay, I feel bad for some of these schools because here's the thing: it doesn't mean they're right. Over the years, these schools have been a part of the NCAA. These schools have gotten money from the NCAA from overall dollars. March Madness, before the television contracts are split up before, they used to get money from there as well. So they've had their hand in the cookie jar, actually benefiting from all of this. Not to mention, they were playing college football. They were playing college sports in general and making money the same way the Power 5 schools were. The difference is most of these schools don't make the money that a Texas makes, doesn't make the money that USC and Oregon makes, an Ohio State, a Michigan, a Texas A&M, a Georgia, an Alabama. These are the guys that are the cream of the crop, and they turn a massive profit. A lot of these small schools are not even breaking even with the little extra money that they're getting, they're losing money. So even though they've been able to get money for decades from benefiting from players not getting paid and all of this, which means they should have to pay. because they did benefit. But these schools, most of these schools, their athletic departments are running a deficit. I don't want to call them broke, but they are running a deficit, losing money year after year, decade after decade. And now you look around and you say, this settlement, you're going to have to pony up some cash that you didn't even budget for. This also means lawyer fees. You're going to have to pony up cash you didn't budget for. Now you're also talking about a settlement where they're saying schools should set aside $20 million to pay athletes money they haven't budgeted for. Now, when you're thinking about it as a small school and you're already operating at a deficit, and now you have settlements and lawyers' fees, and you have to, name, image, and likeness, and paying players on top of that, benefits, it is tough. It is going to be incredibly tough for these schools to maintain. And this is one of the things why I'm concerned most about it. Because it's not going to, these schools are going to look around, and I'm going to say, let's say, University of Akron, University of Montana, Kent State University, just start thinking about some of these the Youngstown states of the world, the Fresnos of the world, the Nevadas of the world. They're going to have to make some tough decisions. And what's scary is one of the first things they're going to do is just say, non-revenue generating sports needs to go, which means Title IX is in danger. Title IX, if you don't know what Title IX it means, is that if you have a men's program, you need just as much women's programs out there. Women's sports have really benefited from Title IX, and it's part of the sports fabric of America, and it's a good thing. Make sure you understand my standing on this one. Title IX is a good thing. But Title IX, low key, is in danger because these schools are going to look around and they're going to say, we don't have the money to do this. So we're going to get rid of the women's lacrosse, and we're going to get rid of the men's lacrosse too. We're going to get rid of volleyball and softball and all these other sports. You're going to start seeing, or I'm worried that you're going to start seeing some of these programs across the country and universities everywhere starting to go away. That's the problem with this, because these schools are losing money. They're not making money. So you can look around and say, who's the school that and the Power 5 conference that's losing the most money? And the first school that comes to mind is UCLA. UCLA is a major school who has lost millions upon millions of dollars year after year after year after year. But here's the difference with a UCLA. UCLA can look around and be like, you know what? We're losing a ton of money. We're in the Pac-12. We're having a hard time competing. You know what? It's time that we go to the Big Ten. Now, they're going to go to the Big Ten, give a couple years. UCLA is going to be making money, big money. They're going to be making double, if not triple, the money they were making in the Pac-12. Kent State, Ohio University, Western Michigan, schools like that, there is no Big Ten, SEC that they can say, we're going to leave our conference and we're going to go to a bigger conference that's going to pay us 3 times the money. These guys don't have that. they've spent the money that they've received from the NCAA. They've been operating at a deficit anyway, so they're burning that money up. The little extra money that they're getting, they're burning that money up. There isn't a war chest. There isn't a rainy day fund at some of these schools like Toledo and Dayton and Xavier. These schools don't have those big giant slush funds to cover. Schools like UConn, who are in the Big East with a football program that doesn't make it's a horrific football program, but it's costing them millions every year. These schools are gonna have an incredibly hard time, and I don't really know the true answer, because they should have to pay, because they did benefit from decades of not paying players. I think, they benefited, they're gonna have to pay, but it also leads to this $20 million decision that schools are going to have to start paying players. I think it leads to Title IX being in trouble, a lot of others like Olympic sports and things of that going away, but also it's making people think that the smaller schools need to break away in college football and start their own college football playoff, everything. And that's the reason why the College Football Super League, I think, works really well, because those power schools that can pay and make the money, which is great, those smaller schools, they're off into their own division. The top 10 schools get to be and compete for making the playoffs. The bottom schools fall down into a relegation league where it benefits everyone. That's the reason why I love the proposal for the College Football Super League, because it allows those smaller schools that may not want to pay that to break off and do their own thing, but the top schools have the chance to jump in and still contend for the college football playoffs, but have a relegation division for those smaller schools. I think that's the best move, because there's going to be a lot of schools that are going to struggle because of this.
I feel like this is way more complicated than people ever anticipated when they moved into this new NIL era. And I will also say, thanks for shouting out my alma mater in there. People were probably wondering why in the heck you ever came up with University of Montana in your list of schools.
I just sprinkle a little knowledge out there every once in a while. Yeah. I don't need to let everybody know the secret sauce, but I just sprinkle a little bit of that out there every once in a while.
If you're wondering, if that jarred you out of your moment, that he was just giving me a little shout out. So I appreciate that. We're gonna go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're still university topic, but moving away from sports. As I said, it's a graduation ceremony gone ridiculously wrong. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. You are watching The Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports, and we will be right back.